Hi guys, so today's day 8. I was cleaning up the code. It took a long time because I have to go through a lot of code. I've not thought that there was so much code to clean up. I've not realized that I created or I have AI created all those code. So let me explain in a small graph. Now, so I was migrating the old data to the new, the new database, and then the old data has its own custom fields 1, 2, 3, 4, and the new database has only a few. Well, default by a few. You can add the add-ons to have all those additional fields. However, so Cloud Code did multiple attempts. First attempt and second attempt, third attempt, because it did not get the custom fields the first time. It was like, as I said before, it was fitting these into that. I should let me use another color. It was fitting this into that. So we are getting minus, I think, 87% of the data that should be preserved. So we preserved only maximum 12% of the data that we should have been preserving, and it caused a huge amount of problems. So we did the second attempt, the third attempt. So, right, okay. Now, we have that in mind right now. Then third, fourth, fifth, I think we had like 8 or 7 attempts, and we were starting to get the right data into the inventory. So I was using inventory, a open source. Excuse my handwriting because I'm using a mouse. I'm not that familiar with writing with the mouse. So we were using inventory, and inventory has its own, right? It has a well-established API, and we're using the API to add in there. But if you want a custom fields to import into inventory, you're gonna have to create some add-ons, right? Add-ons and custom API. Now, so maybe this is, you have to go to the add-ons and into there, right? So that was what was happening. But with all these code, at first, nothing was deleted. So when we started the second attempt, it called the file enhance in the beginning with its file name enhance, right? Enhance blah blah blah, importing or migration function, and it was calling this the original. So you kind of get the idea, and the final one was like unified. Large language models aren't quite good at generating these names because they have a bunch of, they have an intensive vocabulary. Yeah, right. However, we're not always creating new code, right? We're not always creating new code. So some, it was named enhance, some named unified, and it kind of just piles up into a gibberish, right? Some code led to the original, some code led to the enhance, and it came to a point. Like, it came to a point. It just broke. Everything just broke. Right? Everything just broke, and and the new prompts, new generated functions just start acting super weird. I mean, take the UI as for example. I found out that some of the outline was kind of thick, but looks like it's just layered, multiple layered, like a lot of layers. And I was like, why would AI do something like that? It just doesn't make sense, because layout for the new generation of large language model is a pretty simple task, right? So I was thinking, what on earth is happening? And I saw this. It was piling up a lot of code, and the code path, the reference, all that. It's just ugly, really ugly, really messy and ugly. So I had to go in there, one directory per directory, and have the AI to go through all the code. Let's see which one is the latest and has the most well-preserved function, and had it generate one unified code, and pretty much we need to get all this gibberish code, delete all those gibberish code, and then have only one unified code, and that was really what was happening. So one unified code, all those gibberish we deleted. We delete that, delete everything, right? But when you're deleting all those code, you kind of create another mess, because there wasn't just one function, there was multiple functions. And so it's like when you knitting, make knitting, and then you got the whole string into one big mess, and you're like sorting out this big mess, and it was just a nightmare. And however, by going through function by function, so function 1, function 2, function 3, so by going through the function, and because the code is not that huge, I mean the functions are not that much right now, so we were able to just clean one by one, and by cleaning, the messiness went like kind of like this. So the messiness kind of that's what kind of goes down in a slope, and to a point that it became quite clear and every function is working. And then we start building from that, right? So that was today's work, cleaning and planning. So when I am cleaning, I had AI to document, generate clear guidance for future use. There's two words that I think is pretty valuable. Now guidance is, everyone knows that guidance. You wanted to generate the guidance documents, but remember to validate the validation and consolidation. So consolidate validate the code and consolidate your progress, right? Okay. So these 3 steps is very important at the end of your vibe coding or your function generation: guidance, validation, and consolidation. So the latest, the latter 2, will clean up the code, consolidate, and do some testing, and that is very valuable it generates very valuable insight, right? It generates very valuable insight. And you really want those insight. Because those insight will help you find unfound problems, and you can feed it into the guidance, or have it fix right away the problem, and you get a really working code. And then when I think it's important that you can do it. You can go make mistake once, but have AI learn this process. So put this process into, or have it create a guidance and put it into the claude.md documents, and make it into a workflow, a guidance, or anything. And that made the whole project more clear for AI to read and for me to read. And the direction now is much more clear. And tomorrow will be validating all the migration. And as I said, we preserved the 87% of the data, and it is now working. So tomorrow will be quite interesting. I think we'll be testing out a lot of things now. We can have the data in there and testing out the charts, a lot of things. So I will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow's day 9, and stay tuned. Subscribe if you want to know more. And I'm excited, right?